On February 24th, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. For 3 years, the world has recoiled in horror at the barbarity and sadism of the Russian attack on Ukraine. In Ukrainian cities and towns under Russian occupation, Russia executes Ukrainian civilians en masse. Russian soldiers rape Ukrainian women, children, and men. And every single day, Russian bombs, rockets, and missiles target Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, hospitals, homes, and schools. Russia abducts Ukrainian children, adopts them into Russian families, or sends them into re-education camps. Some are then conscripted to fight their fellow Ukrainians. By kidnapping close to 200,000 children, Russia is trying to erase Ukraine's future. The names of the cities where Russia has committed heinous crimes against humanity, Bucha, Irpin, Mariupol, are burned forever into Ukrainian memory and world history as the sites of Russia's genocide against Ukraine. Ukraine has documented almost 160,000 war crimes and crimes of aggression committed by Russia since February of 2022. Ukraine's allies, including the United States, have led the way in helping Ukraine to document these atrocities. It is thus difficult for us to hear the shameful position of US President Donald Trump, who has blamed Ukraine for the war that Russia has wrought, who seeks to appease dictators and war criminals, who treats the victim of aggression as its perpetrator. It is crystal clear that we can no longer depend on the United States as a reliable ally or partner. It is critically important that Canadian and EU leaders develop a united path forward and that they do so quickly. Canada must dedicate the necessary resources to protect ourselves and to help Ukraine defend the freedom of Europe. But we must acknowledge that defending Canadian, Ukrainian, and European freedom will be far more difficult without American backing than it would have been with it. This is a dark truth, but let us remember that we have faced darkness before, and the Ukrainian people have faced and have overcome longer odds than those that they face today. Ukraine has been counted out before by both friend and foe, but there is a reason that the first line of Ukraine's anthem is «Ще не вмерла Україна». Let us recall how we felt on February 24, 2022, when the first Russian rockets, bombs, and missiles hit Ukrainian cities. Recall that in Western capitals, Ukraine was given days or at best weeks before it would be overrun by Russia. Recall that the Americans encouraged President Zelensky to flee. His response, "I don't need a ride, I need ammunition," embodied the spirit and the determination of the Ukrainian people to live free on their own land. 3 years later, Kyiv is still free, and Zelensky still needs ammunition. We must at long last give him the ammunition he needs, if not for Ukraine's sake, then for our own. And let us remember that despite the ruthlessness and brutality of Ukraine's enemies and the pessimism and even defeatism of Ukraine's friends, the resilience, creativity, and unity of the Ukrainian people never fails to inspire and to surprise. So now is not the time to despair. Now is not the time to tire. The Ukrainian people do not despair and they do not tire. Now is the time to unite again with Ukraine. Now is the time to remember that no matter how long the night, the daylight always breaks. Now is the time to remember that tyrants always fall. Now is the time to remember that freedom always wins. Now is the time to stand with Ukraine. Slava Україні! Героям слава!